Alright everyone, welcome back to the DevonPlays channel, and I would just like to thank you all for getting the Home of the Samurai's channel to 800 subscribers. I don't know how it happened, but I just woke up and saw the subscriber count, and trust me, it was at 800. I don't know how that happened. Maybe people just subscribing for probably no reason, I guess. But anyways, I do thank you all deeply for getting me there. Whether it's a bot or you're an actual subscriber, I don't care. So for our very first 800 subscriber special, we are going to do a tier list compiling up every single movie that I've watched in my life. There are some that are good, some that were just in the middle, and the rest were just really bad. So, let's jump right in by starting off with Despicable Me. I'm gonna put that straight into A tier because, well, out of all of them, this has to be the most enjoyable to watch. Plus, it does start off Illumination on a very decent note. Plus, it did decent at the box office, but I guess the biggest problem is that, if you're watching this in Megamind, it is pretty hard to tell which one is actually better. But just keep note that Despicable Me released first between the two. So you might get confused. And basically, that's probably why Megamind did terrible at the box office, which we'll get to later. Next up, we have our very first video game movie adaptation on the list, the Angry Birds movie. Yeah, I feel like this film and its sequel get a lot of unnecessary hate. But for convenience sake, we'll put this in B tier because it's a solid film. The humor could use some work here and there. I'll admit, there actually were a few funny moments, but just pointing this out, like I said again, this film could use some work. Yeah, some, not a lot. And then we got Despicable Me 2, which will also go into B tier. So, they did something new with this movie. That's all I have to say. I bet y'all can guess what it is. And then we have our very first E tier, Shark Bait, or The Reef Radar. It's supposed to... I feel like South Korea made The Reef Radar because of Finding Nemo's popularity. Thanks to Finding Nemo's popularity, this film probably has the most mockbusters to actually exist. If I were to put this on a list of worst movies, I would put this in top 10 worst of 2006. Probably taking the number one spot if I have to. But our next one isn't as bad because, as a matter of fact, it's way better. We got Despicable Me 3. You know, I was watching Saber Sparks' worst films of the decade. I watched this video at least once every 2 weeks or so. He called this worse than the Minions. I mean, in reality, it's the other way around, but that's what Saber Spark thinks. But I can see why. It gets a C tier for me. After a rewatch, I think I put it in B tier the last time. Also, the Rise of Gru will go into A tier and the original Minions will go into C tier because, like Saber Spark said, this film is kind of dumb and just uninteresting and just low level. I forgot what he said about Minions, but it was on the lines of pretty uninteresting, and I could kind of agree. Because, well, once you watch the Minions, you're going to get bored of it as an adult. Unless you're Animat. And then we got Hop. Straight D tier. I mean, I like the whole Easter idea and all, but, it just didn't get executed that well. Plus, this film wasn't even that interesting either. Outside the whole Easter thing. And then we have The Secret Life of Pets. Low B tier because it's too similar to Toy Story. Yeah, just go watch that. But Secret Life 2, C tier. Yeah, I have not had anything reach an S tier yet. Like, the highest we've got was an A tier. Sing will be B tier, and Sing 2 will be a higher B tier. Because, well, it's better done. And then we got the Super Mario Brothers movie. Well, that's going into A tier. Passing The Rise of Gru and just being below Despicable Me, I guess. Yeah. The Lorax is going into C tier. And then How the Grinch Stole Christmas 2000 can go into D tier. No, E tier. Because, like, bro. Holy... You know, despite how hideous it is, like, the Grinch is in general... At least it does match up to the original stuff well, because the Grinch is supposed to be creepy and evil or something. At least the Grinch executed that well. But again, I preferred the Illumination Grinch more. Bolt is a B tier because, well... Also, speaking of which, I did announce a Bolt review. But I might do a whole Freebirds review at some point. Because there was a 10-year anniversary for Freebirds that kicked in several days ago. Yeah, I was just scrolling on Discord. No, I'm not a Discord mod, for those wondering. Okay, we got both of Ralph's movies. Okay, Wreck-It Ralph will go into A tier, and Ralph Breaks the Internet will go into C tier. Phil, just let me swipe really quick. And then Big Hero 6 can also go into A tier. I just rewatched this like a few days ago. And I actually still like it. It's still an 8 for me. One thing that stops it from like a 9 or even a 10 is the twist villain. And then we got Tangled, which is our very first S tier. And Zootopia can also go up there too. And then Moana will get an A tier. No, just switch this out really quick. And then we have The Brave Little Toaster. Bro, this movie is criminally underrated, bro. I'm putting this in A tier. I love the Worthless song, even though it was actually the darkest moment in the movie. Especially how this is a children's movie. And then we have the Emoji Movie. I'm laughing how utterly bad this is. F tier. Also, I keep pausing through every few sentences because there's a song in the background I'm pretty much enjoying right now while also making this video. It's titled Going With The Flow, and I'm on the Purple Cat channel. I bet you see what I did there. Because cats purr and it's purple. And I think you get the pine. But Surf's Up, however, is going up to an A tier. And then Surf's Up 2 will go into D tier. Nah, E tier. This film was really boring. Yeah, upon rewatch again. And then Happy Feet will go into B tier. Just rewatched it and it wasn't as good as I anticipated. Oh, I have 2 Happy Feets. Crap. But it should be fine because Lego Movie is a really high A tier. And then we have Treasure Planet. I just watched this in my advisory class in the 11th grade one time. And guess what? It's going into A tier because this movie's criminally underrated. You know, why did this do terrible at the box office? I don't get it. Also, Snow White will be going into A tier. Five Nights at Freddy's. I just watched this like the day it came on Peacock, bro. Yeah, I'm kidding. It's not even an S tier, but it's still A tier. It's still mid A tier because I guess it was met with generally negative reviews because this was probably made for fans, not critics. But like, bro, this deserves a better Rotten Tomatoes score of anything. A lot of video game movies deserve better Rotten Tomatoes scores for matter. And I'm looking at it right now. Five Nights at Freddy's is now 30%. I think it was initially 28, I think. 28 or 29% initially before it went down. And then started to go up. Bro, you should really give this movie a shot if you're a critic. Also, I definitely recommend rewatching Cuties if you're a critic, because at least the audience has hated it. The audience is, or was it the audience that liked it and then the critics hated it? I forgot who hated Cuties, but I'm on the side where it sucks. But we'll get to Cuties in a minute. Ratatouille's S tier and Up is A tier. Soul, yeah, upon rewatch, Soul's an A tier. Why not? Because, like I said, we need more black protagonists, bro. And then Onward could get a C tier. High C tier, I guess, because I just love magic and all that. Plus, while the film wasn't interesting and all, like, it still deserves bits of respect. We got Coco and The Book of Life, which are both Mexican culture, automatic A tier. Yeah, just rewatch The Book of Life. And then we got the same studio that made The Book of Life, which this film was released before The Book of Life, Freebirds. I'm gonna put this in C tier. Yeah, I would never disrespect a time travel movie, my guy. Yeah, I would never in my life disrespect it. Anyways, Brave and Good Dinosaur could get some high D tiers because it's from a good studio, so I can't really give it like E or F. Despite not being that interesting at all. Plus, the latter film did terrible at the box office, and the former won the best animated feature? What? How? This film wasn't even an interesting movie. But anyways, Monsters University could be B tier, Monsters Inc. could be A tier. Plain and simple. And then we have Flushed Away. Bro, this movie is also criminally underrated, and Over the Hedge could be described the same way. They're both going into A tier. Next up, we got Madagascar 2 and 3. I don't know where the first one is, but we'll get to that one soon. I promise. I implemented that into the tier list. So both of these will be going into B tier, I guess. Huh, I love the circus afro. And then we have Kung Fu Panda. I believe I did put this in S tier, and it's still worthy of S tier. Because this film is absolutely fun to watch. That's how worthy it is of S tier. And then we have Turbo, C tier. One of the least interesting films by DreamWorks so far out of the good ones. Yeah, it's not even that good in general either. Plus, it's literally just Cars and Ratatouille done with snails and put, like, it's just merged together. So that's why it's C tier. Like, it could use some better and original plot points. And then we got Wallace and Gromit: Curse of the Were-Rabbit. I don't care what anybody says. This might be either A or S tier. And Chicken Run can also go into A tier. While Prince of Egypt can also go into S tier. Hold on, let me just swipe this really quick. Okay. Yeah, it's either high A tier or just S tier. And then we got Joseph, King of Dreams, B tier. Wasn't as good as Prince of Egypt, but it's still decent, I guess. You know, this felt like a theatrical released film of anything, but yet it was direct to video instead, just like all those other open season movies we'll get into later. Brother Bear and Dinosaur will be going to C tier. I apologize to the guy in the comments who did say that Dinosaur was a decent film. You know, I bet it's the same guy who told Schaefer-List that Dinosaur was a good film and made a full analyst why Schaefer-List was wrong about Dinosaur. Or maybe that's just a different person. I don't know. Pocahontas can also go to C tier. And both the Frozen films will go into B tier. Dumbo can also go into B tier. Wow, I have a lot of B tiers. Like in a row, actually. But Aladdin, however, can go into A tier. I might switch the order of films from most like to least like. while I guess Aladdin 2019 could get a D tier. Like, I guess a decent level of D tier to the point where it could at least reach C tier. And then we have our next A tier, Lilo and Stitch. And then Food Fight can go into F tier. Yeah, this is Food Fight, I can tell. Even a lower F tier than the Emoji Movie, because at least the Emoji Movie had decent landscapes and an awesome soundtrack. Bro, it makes that film look like a 10 out of 10 in comparison. Yeah, you know what? Emoji Movie's going to E tier because if you exclude the, then basically the Emoji Movie starts with the letter E technically. If you exclude the out of it. Yeah, moving it up to E tier. I still consider it the worst Sony film, dude. Huh. I can finally see why Animat has a huge hate for Sony. I don't hate Sony, just Animat does. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish can go into S tier. Yeah, I just watched this on Netflix, and boy, was this an epic movie. Spirit can go into B tier. Sinbad is also a B tier. I don't see why this did terrible at the box office. Sinbad was actually fun to watch, actually. And then Megamind could go into S tier. No one is stopping me. It's a subversive masterpiece. Yeah, Schaeferless had this in his title for his whole Megamind video. And I can actually agree. And all the How to Train Your Dragons could go into like a decent A tier, except the first one, which will be going into S tier, which is one of the most prominent movies. Well, it's one of the most prominent franchises, rather. Next up, we got Rise of the Guardians. Good movie, but not my cup of tea. Yeah, I've been looking up some crossovers about Frozen and Rise of Guardians. You know, watching both films, I forgot what they actually had in common. Yeah, I forgot. And then Abominable could be C tier. I apologize to those who like it. And then The Croods will be a B tier, and Spirit Untamed is a E tier. Bro, this film had nothing interesting going for it. Ooh, I think we have the biggest definition of S tier of them all. Spirited Away, bro. If y'all don't like Spirited Away, what's wrong with you? This is one of the best animated features of all time. Especially one of the best 2D animated movies. You know, can this even count as an anime movie or what? Yeah, it's that good. And then we got Ponyo. High A tier, bro. This film was really fun to watch. And both the Sonic movies can go in that exact tier too. Next up, we got Sausage Party. I can see what people are saying this is bad, but I think particularly this is a B tier. Because while it's inappropriate in all that place, at least it's funny. So that's one thing that stopped it from being C or D. Yeah, I feel like the hate for Sausage Party, like, it leans over to deserving and undeserving at this point. Like, it's hard to tell whether it deserves its hate or not. And then we have the original Ice Age. A tier. One of the most prominent franchises out there for Blue Sky. Well, it's actually their most prominent, with Rio being second. But it's not as prominent, given there was only a second Rio movie. I heard there's going to be a third one, apparently. Yeah, a third Rio movie. It's what we needed. And then we got Fantasia 1940, I think. I believe it is a 1940s movie. But the original Fantasia, is this an animated canon movie? Or is just Fantasia 2000? I think Fantasia is an animated canon movie. Well, not Fantasia 2000, but the original Fantasia. And then we have The Star. I just got done watching it. I believe I didn't watch it the original time, but Yeah, I don't remember what happened, but it is a D tier. And then we got Melody Time. Yeah, for a movie focused on Donald, I think I could give Melody Time a B tier. And then we got Son of Bigfoot, bro. I don't see where people saying Son of Bigfoot was trash. Bro, Son of Bigfoot is A tier, and I'm dying on that hill. I'm dying on the hill, and y'all ain't stopping me. And then we have Fun and Fancy Free. C tier. Hate to piss anyone off. Yeah, Fantasia is an animated canon movie. I'm looking on the Disney Wiki right now. Both the Goofy movies will be an A tier because, well, you know, Goofy's my favorite of the trio. And then we have The Reef 2. Yeah, this is probably one of the most unnecessary movies out there. And it'll be dropped to E tier alongside the original movie. At least the animation is better, I guess. So I guess it gets a higher E tier rating than the original. And then we have Ugly Dolls. Yeah, I just got done watching Ugly Dolls a few days ago. And bro, did I see why people said it sucked. D tier. I don't care about the songs. The songs barely added anything interesting to it. Plus, the humor was like a hit or miss, like at best. So it gets a D tier for that. And then the Angry Birds movie 2 is next. Yeah, low B tier or high C tier. I don't know. Yeah, my browser might restart thanks to too many movies being in this category. Like, I have at least 207. But 208 if you count this backup Happy Feet poster here. I don't see why Schaefer was saying Happy Feet wasn't that good for a movie that won Best Animated Feature. I mean, Happy Feet's alright, I guess. But bro, that doesn't mean it's like 3 or 4 out of 10 or something. Or 5 out of 10, whatever he gave the movie initially. But next up we have Planes with Brains. And The Adventures of Petey and Friends. Yeah, they're both dropping the E tier because, well, let's be honest. They're legitimate copies of Planes, and Planes already received an overwhelming amount of hate. Especially for those who already watched Cars 2. But speaking of Planes, we have the Planes Fire and Rescue, which was the sequel. C tier, because... No. B tier, because I feel like Planes should have been about fighting fires. Not racing like the Cars movies. This is the whole point of a spinoff. It's supposed to be completely different. And then Madagascar could go into A tier. And Finding Nemo and Meet the Robinsons will go into S tier. Taking a part of my top 10 of movies I've seen in my life. I'll just move Finding Nemo first. Because that's the movie I'm ranking first. Like I said, I don't even need to explain. I have a whole 17-minute video of Meet the Robinsons. So why have it as an S tier movie? I'll link that video again. Like, my whole life is this movie now. Next up, we have 101 Dalmatians and Emperor's New Groove. This is getting B tier, and Emperor's New Groove is an A tier. And we have Mulan 2, which will drop into D tier. And then Mulan 2020 will be going into E tier. Well, this one will be going into E tier as well. And then we have The Little Mermaid 2020. 2023, I mean. I'm an idiot. Mulan was 2020. This will get a C tier, and Cars 2 can also go in that tier as well, because I feel like the hate for Cars 2 is really undeserving at this point. You know, I can also say that because thanks to a certain YouTuber, I'll just blame him for the film's hate because why not? Plus, this dude rants on it over and over again. This dude would go off topic just to rant on this movie. Like, bro, we get it. The film sucks. You have to say it over and over again. You're just making yourself look like Jeffy from SML and the Annoying Orange combined at this point, dude. Like, it's that annoying. Horton Hears a Who could go into B tier. Wait, no. A tier. Yeah, I have a lot of A tiers. Might as well just fill up the B tiers a little bit with this next Ice Age movie in Ferdinand or whatever it was called. I do not know how that movie's name is pronounced. But that's going to the B tier. I thought they just had John Cena in that movie just to make the movie popular. Just like how they had the Rock voice in Moana to be popular. I think Moana was already going to get a bunch of popularity. You didn't have to have the Rock voice there. Not saying the Rock did a bad job. He did an okay job. This is probably just to get a cult following somewhere. That's why Moana is A tier instead of S tier, because let's be honest, these famous celebrities voicing is probably just an attempt to make the movie popular. Next we have Dawn of the Dinosaurs. Yeah, this gets to like a low B tier for me. And then Continental Drift and Collision Course will get D tiers. Wait, you know what? No. Collision Course is getting an E tier. Yeah, it's that bad. And then we got the Peanuts movie. Next, we're putting this in S tier because, well, I do love the original Charlie Brown content, so I have a reason to put it in S tier. Next, we got the Barbie movie. B tier, and Star Command The Adventure Begins will be an A tier. Yeah, just watch this instead of Lightyear. Lightyear is pretty pointless to watch. Plus, its existence itself is pointless. Which, when we come across Lightyear, I'm putting it straight in D tier, bro. No one is stopping me. Bro, how is that better than Cars 2? The film is forgettable, unlike Cars 2. I can remember everything that goes on in that movie. Yeah, don't even ask me to describe it to try to get some proof out of it. And then we have the Brave Little Toaster to the Rescue. B tier, I guess. Next, we have, One Jolly Day Alteration. I hope you're watching this, Jay, because, bro, S tier. Like I don't give a crap. I don't give a crap. This might be the best movie of all time. Yeah, even better than Spirited Away, in my opinion. By that snickering, you know I'm playing, but it's still an S tier. I don't care. And then we have The Grinch. Yeah, C tier. Again. If you're wondering what I used to save these movie posters, I just ported them from my old iPad and then basically used my phone and then saved them to files. I have a movie posters collection, so there. And then we have Hotel Transylvania 4. Yeah, this is going into D tier. And Brave Little Toaster Goes to Mars can go to a low C tier. And then Ratchet and Clank will go into a D tier. Detective Pikachu is an A tier. Jeez, I'm starting to enjoy video game movies more. Like, I feel like their hate is just severely unnecessary at this point. Next, we got Vivo and Wish Dragon. Vivo is B tier, and I guess I also put Wish Dragon in B tier, but just slightly higher. And then we have the Autobots. Straight F tier, bro. Because, holy Christ, was the animation terrible in this one. Heck, it already tried to cash in on a film that was already hated. And that hated film was already made by Pixar, and I just put it in C tier. I already put the film in C tier, so I guess you can put the pieces on what movie I'm talking about. Yes, even given the main posters of the movie are also pretty similar. Like, I'm not lying. You could look at Cars 2 and the Autobots. Look at the posters really closely. Yeah, they're that similar. And then we have a Serbian film and Freddy Got Fingered. Yeah, I think my channel should be probably one of the last to even be mentioning these movies. But overall, they're E tier because one thing that stopped them from F tier is, well, yeah, I would prefer a mockbuster than these inappropriate pieces of crap. Well, except if it's the Autobots, because it's low quality, unlike these two movies. Because at least these films are actually supposed to be terrible, so I can feel a little bit bad, like a microscopic level of bad for their hate. I'm surprised these avoided, well, a Serbian film, since it was like in the 2010s. I'm surprised this avoided being one of the worst of the decade of Saberspark's tier list of worst films of the 2010s. And coincidentally, this was 2010. Hold on, when was Freddy Got Fingered made? 2001. And I heard this film was really inappropriate, so I started to watch it, and boy, did my eyes just, Okay, these next movies are Nickelodeon movies. Sponge on the Run is a B tier, and the Loud House movie is a C tier. Wait, let me just move that a little lower. There. Saludos Amigos is also a B tier. And then Sharknado can go into high D tier, low C tier, I guess. I don't know. Arctic Dogs can also go into E tier because this is also one of the worst performing movies on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, one of the worst performing animated movies, I'd rather say. Next up, we got Scoob. I just got done watching it last month, and it is a C tier. And then Mr. Peabody and Sherman can also go up into S tier. Because I've been comparing this to Meet the Robinsons like all day. And boy, is it hard to tell which film is actually better. But I can see the amount of similarities they have. They're both fun to watch. They did terrible at the box office. They're both by awesome studios. But me personally, Meet the Robinsons is a little bit better than Mr. Peabody and Sherman. But that's just what I think. Next we got Wall-E, another A tier. And Smurfs the Lost Village can go into mid B tier or high C tier. Because while it's better than those live action movies, the live action movies have more interesting things, or rather more personality into them than Smurfs the Lost Village. Which is why I'm dropping that one down to a C tier because, well, there's barely anything interesting, but just the appealing character designs were all. But it's obvious that the animation was good on this movie, especially how it was a remake. And then we got Finding Dory. Straight up A tier. I already enjoyed the original Finding Nemo, so I can already put it in A tier for that. And then we got Cars 1 and Cars 3, which, if I'm recommending anything, just see the first and third films, as the third film felt more like an actual sequel to the first one than the second one did. Since it focused on a spy story and nothing really gets brought up about it ever again in the third movie. Maybe because of the reception the film already got. So Cars 3 will be a B tier, while Cars 1 gets an S tier. And I remember being so hyped up for Cars 3. And then we got The Incredibles. Okay. Y'all can basically just go full on enraged mode all you want, but Incredibles might be an A tier. One thing that's stopping it from S tier is its sheer popularity. Okay, I can see why it's popular, but like better than every other film, not so much. Like, I can name at least 5 films that are actually better than The Incredibles. Agreeable or disagreeable, that's just what I think. But y'all are allowed to think whatever y'all want. and so am I. So Incredibles A tier, and I'm dying on this hill. And Incredibles 2 can go a B tier, for all I cared. And then we got the Shrek movies. Okay, I'm gonna just be quite frank. Shrek the Third is a D tier, Shrek 2 is S, Shrek is A, and Shrek Forever After is a B. A? Yeah, I apologize for the lag, plus I'm screen recording right now on my phone. The original screen recording was gone, so I had to do it again. And then both Ants and A Bug's Life are going B tiers. They're both equally B tier status, I guess. Because given that these movies were released the same year, many people called Ants a copy and A Bug's Life. I told my teacher this one time that y'all were just saying that, and he actually agreed with y'all that it was a copy. Because I'm laughing how utterly false that is. And then we got Home and the two Boss Baby movies up next. All of those are D tier. They were really boring and forgettable. Bro, I can remember everything out of Shrek the Third more than I could with Boss Baby. And then we have Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken. I mean, mainly the animation was nice, but it wasn't that interesting of a film. And it even did terrible at the box office. Also, Planes Can Drop right down in the C tier, just like Cars 2. Yeah, these movies were painfully mid. Like, they were painfully 6 out of 10. To the point where they could reach at least 5 or 4. But I'm not going there, because I think this film is hated enough. But we got The Lion King 2019 and the other Lion King movies. Also, a straight D tier. This movie was boring. Plus, it was unnecessary. Who even asked for these live action movies anyway? So, Lion King 1.5 and Lion King 2, Simba's Pride will be going into A tier, while the original Lion King will be going into S tier. Perhaps the greatest Disney movie of all time. It still is, actually. Because Meet the Robinsons, like, the only movie that even beats Meet the Robinsons in terms of how good it is in the animated canon catalog is The Lion King. And that's just it. Placing in one of my top 5 movies. And then we got these 3 movies that are made by the Asylum. Izzy's Way Home, Cargo, and Trollland. Trollland is an F tier, and Izzy's Way Home and Cargo are E tier. This was boring. Izzy's Way Home is like a high E tier, because at least something interesting went on. Shit. While Trollland is an F tier. Horrible animation, my guy. It was extremely lazy. Just to try to get it on time with Trolls. And then Finding Jesus could go in a straight F tier, offensive movie. And the sequel could go down there. Forget it. Yeah, the highest I've ever had to place a mockbuster was D tier. Yeah, because that's where Chop Kick Panda is going. Because at least the animation is nice. And we got the Kung Fu Panda movies. Kung Fu Panda 2 and 3 will go into A tier, while... yeah, the third one is going into low A tier. While this one is going to mid A tier, while the original one is going into S tier. Like, it's plain and simple why this is S tier. It's pretty fun to watch. And my favorite scene out of that whole movie was Tai Lung breaking out of prison. Plus, he has such memorable dialogue. Like the whole "our battle will be legendary" one. I hear that everywhere. And then there's Shark Tale. I thought Shark Tale only existed just to compete with Finding Nemo, but holy crap, this movie is so bad that I could just give it a C tier. Yeah, it's ironically funny for how bad it is. And then we have Chicken Little. Yeah, this is going into D tier. Wow, was this movie really disrespectful towards the protagonist? If y'all wanted a good 3D animated movie, just dive down on Meet the Robinsons. This is like probably my 4th or 5th time mentioning this movie. I don't know. Oh, my throat is so dry right now. That should help a little bit. Next up, we got What's Up, Balloon to the Rescue. Facepalm, F tier, get in there. And then we have Where the Dead Go to Die. G tier, absolutely garbage. Oh my god, this is the worst animated movie. Yes, I had to put up with the Autobots and What's Up, Balloon to the Rescue, then this piece of crap. Oh my god, did it scar my eyes. And we got Fantasia 2000. Who, thank God, this doesn't piss me off, because this is an A tier. Next up, we have The Smurfs and The Smurfs 2. Already did Smurfs The Lost Village, and this is far better. And for convenience's sake, I'll just say these are just straight E tier. Probably the third. Well, they're tied for second worst Sony film. Yeah, they're both equally bad, despite having more interesting things going on. But these are like 3 out of 10. Smurfs The Lost Village was a 6. Because while it's just a mediocre and a predictable adventure, dude, at least the character designs aren't lackluster. So it gives it bonus points for that. Yeah, lackluster character plus half the film being interesting just doesn't cut it. Oh wait, did I say half? 1/3 of the film is interesting. The rest is forgettable. While only like 3/10 of Smurfs The Lost Village is remotely interesting or not so predictable. Everything got Cloudy with a Chance in its sequel. Cloudy with a Chance 2 can go into B tier. Yeah, I don't care what Animat says. His opinion could screw off. B tier and Cloudy with a Chance is an S tier. Nah, it's dropping to A tier because last time we rewatched this, it wasn't as good, but it's still pretty good. And we have Mitchell's versus the Machines. I just got done watching this like last month. And as for Netflix exclusive, I loved it. A tier. And then we got both the Spider-Verse movies. Instant S tiers. But I'll just move one at a time since I'm filling up the A tier way too much. I need to start filling up more of the S tier and the C tier, D tier category. Yeah, on par of the best Sony films. And I'm glad they got Animat seal of approval. Well, I don't think he reviewed Across the Spider-Verse yet, but if I were to assume, it gets the seal of approval, I guess. Yeah, because at least Sony has decent animation and the dude just couldn't see it. Also, Encanto could go into S tier respectfully. No debate about it. It's one of my top 3 movies. And I love Colombian culture. I love Hispanic culture. So, another reason it's S tier. Okay. Next up, we got Home on the Range. Yeah, Home on the Range is pretty much forgettable. Straight D tier. One way to say Chicken Little is somehow better, it's because at least it isn't forgettable. And next up were the open season movies. Okay, just to be quite frank, open season is B tier, open season 2 is C, and then the other 2 are just straight D tier. I did put them in E tier originally, but I felt bad, so they're getting a D tier. But that's not a compliment. Not a compliment, I repeat. And then Peter Rabbit is also a D tier. And then next up are the Transylvania movies. I think I already did. Yeah, I already did Transylvania 4. Y'all can see it right there. Well, it gets a higher D tier because at least on like Brave and the Good Dinosaur, Peter Rabbit has something going for it. Yeah, all of those are going into A tier. I'm sorry if I have too many A tiers. I guess I'll just reduce that and just put Star Command in like B tier somewhere. At least it isn't pointless on like Lightyear. Yeah, it's pointless to watch it given that Star Command already existed. You can just ignore Lightyear's existence and feel like you're just watching something for once. Inside Out can also go into A tier. I especially love the ending for this movie. And we got the Toy Story movies. All those are going into A tier except the second one, which will respectfully go into S tier. And Luca can also join in on S tier. Because, of anything, Luca felt like an LGBTQ movie, of anything. Yet, they confirmed it isn't one. Bro, forget them for not confirming that. Yeah, just give me a minute. I'm sorting these out. And given I'm doing it on mobile, yeah, it's going to be too hard. I should have just... Yeah, I might have to wish for a PC when I turn 19. So it's easier to do tier list over there. I might learn how to edit better while I'm at it. Next up, we got... Oh my god, bro. The worst film I think I've ever seen. And also the worst Netflix movie for that matter. Cuties. Yeah, do I even need to explain why it's going into G tier? Bruh, if Animat reviewed this, he would give it the Animat seal of garbage. I would know it, bro. This movie was one of the most disturbing. And it's supposed to be good too, to make matters worse. Same thing with Where the Dead Go to Die. But one difference that Cutie has is Where the Dead Go to Die. Whereas on the latter film, the people behind Where the Dead Go to Die actually regret making that film. Cuties has yet to be a creator's regrets. Yeah, Netflix has yet to regret having this film on its streaming service. And it's deserving of its hate entirely. And remember how I said I was going to put Lightyear in D tier? Yes, it's going there because it's utterly boring and pointless to watch. And it's a huge waste of time. And then Turning Red can go into B tier respectfully. You know, I remember watching an AI Presence video. They said Turning Red was actually the worst Pixar movie. I laughed because of how utterly disagreeable it is. Okay, this is the original Transformers, so I'll put that in B tier. And then Revenge of the Fallen can go into C tier, I guess. And then Robots can go into B tier. Epic can also go into B tier. Rio 2 can go into C tier. And B movie can also go into C tier. Trolls, C tier. Bro, I'm just filling up C tiers at this point. Rio can go into S tier because, like I said, Angry Birds Rio might be the reason I'm putting this in S tier. And why do I put the Angry Birds movie in B tier? Because, well, it's Rovio's first attempt at a movie. I shouldn't hate it too much. And for those wondering, yes, I do like Sonic 2 more than the original. And then our last couple of movies are The Bad Guys, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and Elemental. Did I say Puss in Boots? So, to end it off for our last film of Pixar, I'm going to put Elemental in B tier. Because I actually enjoyed this. We need more girl protagonists in Pixar media, my guy. And they actually have more screen time than the supposed secondary protagonist. Which is something Incredibles 2... Which is actually the reason I put Incredibles 2 in B tier. Because we had a female protagonist in that movie only for the protagonist of the original film to have more screen time. Which was the father of the family. The mom of the family was the protagonist in that one. The Bad Guys could be A tier, and Puss in Boots: The Last Wish can be S tier. Yeah, even I'm pretty sure if Schaefer List were to put Puss in Boots: The Last Wish anywhere, he probably put it in S tier. I don't know, but that's just my guess. No, I kept thinking the second poster of Happy Feet was Happy Feet 2, but regardless of sakes, I've never watched Happy Feet 2. But I'll just pretend it's the second and I'll just put it in C tier. Yeah, guys, just pretend that this Happy Feet 2 is actually... Yeah, just pretend that this second Happy Feet poster is the second movie. Because yes, the second movie exists. It's just forgettable in general, so I'm gonna put Happy Feet 2 in C tier. If I had to put it there. But for Christ's sakes, I'm laughing from how memeable the B movie is, so I'm also gonna put it in B tier, and that's our entire list. From on this list, we have either Spirited Away or One Jolly Day Alteration by the Jolly Guy, which was responsible for the Jolly Horrors video games and the George Iger's video games while I'm at it. With the worst film being Cuties. Yeah, the one reason I'm saying it's worse than Where the Dead Go to Die, because at least that film, they regret making it, and they don't regret making Cuties at all. Yeah, and some idiot, I hope this guy's watching this, you're a huge idiot to defend Cuties, because Cuties has absolutely nothing to defend. And trust me, yeah, that's why I put him in G tier. I barely have any, like, E tiers or D tiers in general, because most of the movies I've seen aren't that bad. Like, or at least aren't as bad as people say. Yeah, I'm just updating the tier list a little bit. Okay, like I said, a lot of time you'll see. But overall, I'm gonna save and download it. Now I'm gonna just download this really quick. And that's the final tier list. Yeah, I know there's some disagreeable stuff I had to say, but that's for you to leave down in the comments. Like, what movies did I put in certain tiers? Would you put lower or higher? But I will have to update this tier list again. I'm gonna just type this in and we'll just end the video. This might be an hour long. Yeah, I tried to do this tier list a couple of times back. But now I'm doing it as an 800 sub special, and I thank all of you deeply for that. That means we're fourth of a fifth away just from... Like, we're a fifth away from 1,000 subs. I can't wait to reach that milestone. Because I have, like, three sub specials ready for that one. And save. Thank you guys so much for watching. And we'll see you guys later. Bye, everyone. And I'll see you at the second subscriber